Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about the NGS headline as it just ended at the time of this recording, and there is quite a bit to cover. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to go over is PSO2 is going to be celebrating its 11th anniversary since the official release on PC in Japan. So Sega always makes a really big deal about these anniversaries, and it's really good for us, the player base, because we get a ton of freebies. But before I start talking about the freebies, first of all, what exactly are they going to be changing in the 11th year anniversary? They're treating it just like a glorified seasonal event. So basically, just think of a regular seasonal event. Everything's more or less the same as a regular seasonal event. However, this time they're introducing the Lillipans. Lillipans are a mascot sort of thing. They're sort of like Rappies, and they were a big deal back in the base game of base PSO2. And so they're introducing Lillipans into NGS. So it's like, wow, yay, there's Lillipans now. And since it is a seasonal event, of course, we're going to get seasonal weapons. They're introducing the Revolcoat weapons, which are basically the Evil Coat weapons, but a different color. It's like light neon blue, and it's really shiny and really sleek looking, and it's pretty much going to be the best in slot if you're planning to do any PSE farming or just anything to do with seasonal enemies. It's going to be the best in slot simply because of the seasonal augment, which is going to give you 30% damage reduction, 25% crit rate. It's going to give you a ton of very OP stats. However, all of those OP stats only apply to seasonal enemies. So if you're not using a Tisha weapon, or if your Neo A weapon doesn't have a high fixa, you're just going to be using this throughout the entirety of the event in July. And the very nice thing about these weapon series is when you pick them up from the event shop, they're already enhancement level 60, potential level 6 unlocks, and has 5 slots of augments. Now of course this does mean that we need to limit break it in order to enhance it to plus 70. However, at least the potential is already at level 6, so you don't need to worry about the photon chunks 2A and 2B, and these weapons are more or less ready to use right out of the box from the seasonal shop. So that's definitely very nice. But now to talk about the limited time quest, they're taking a huge leap of faith over here, and they're kind of doing it like Mario Party. Basically, it's going to be an NGS quiz game to earn points. So you're going to be asked specific questions, and there are like different pads to step on like yes or no, or it's going to ask you like, oh, you know, what region is Nadare originally from? And they're going to give you the 4 options of all the different areas, and you have to stand in Retem in order to get the answer right. It's going to be a quiz game themed limited time quest, which is quite unique. It's a little bit different from what we've normally had. You know, normally we just beeline and kill everything and go to the boss, kill the boss, and we cash out. This time around, it's very different because yeah, it's basically a quiz game. But I do believe there is still stuff to kill. Like after the quiz game, it might determine what boss enemy you fight or something, whether you get the answer right or wrong. I don't know how it works exactly, but it's definitely something different than what we're used to. So you know, I'm gonna give it a shot, and if I like it, I'll run it more. If I don't, well, I'll just run it less. But now to talk about the free stuff, and that is of course the PSO2 11th anniversary special scratch. All of the Hitsugi stuff is coming back. For those who don't know who Hitsugi is, she was one of the main characters in the base game. She's a braver, and I'm very happy because, you know, she's got some really nice cosmetic items, really nice hairstyle, really awesome katana. So I'm happy that all of those items are being provided in this special scratch. So as usual, you're going to farm up seasonal points. You're going to use your seasonal points to buy out the seasonal shop, which will give you special scratch tickets, and then you're going to scratch over here. Now, I don't know if the limited time quest is going to drop special scratch tickets, but as you all know from the previous seasonal event, the drop rate of these special scratch tickets were really low back then. So I'm not going to be banking on the limited time quest dropping these tickets. I'm going to play it really safe, just farm seasonal points. That's very consistent, very easy to do, and just buy out my 80 tickets from the seasonal shop and just use that in order to get all the items I actually want from the special scratch. Now, something that really surprised me is we are actually getting a new urgent quest, which is not just like a rehash of a boss or like a recolor or reskin or anything. This is actually a brand new urgent quest where we fight a brand new mob called the Venogia Vera inside La Ciel. So we are finally going back to La Ciel after the story, and we get to fight a big bad boss that's similar to Zevetto. It's not exactly one-to-one the same as Zevetto because it has quite a lot of different moves that Zevetto never did before. So I'm definitely looking forward towards this urgent quest. Now keep in mind that this urgent quest will be in the Retem region. So when an urgent quest happens, the Aleo region is still always going to be Dark Falls. It might be Dark Falls Interception or Dark Falls Aegis. What you guys want to pay attention to is when an urgent quest comes up, check the Retem urgent quest and check if it is the LaCiel boss or not, because if it is, then you definitely want to run that, because there are a bunch of titles tied to this, and I'm pretty sure that this boss probably has a higher chance of dropping the 9-star rarity weapons. Now on top of that, we are also going to get a bunch of new limited time tasks tied with the creative spaces. So for my friends who are really enjoying the creative spaces, you will be able to obtain a lot more Genesis points by completing these limited time tasks, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Now on top of all of that, we also have the AC Scratch Ticket Designer Dreams, July 2023. This is the third round of the design winners. All of the outfits in this scratch were actually player made and they won through the voting system. This was all the way back in last year during the 10th anniversary, by the way. So again, you know, just giving you guys a little heads up of how long it takes Sega to make things. These outfits were submitted a year ago and they're finally in the game, but there are some really cute ones that I'm definitely going to be looking at. I do like the chicken suit and I do like the little fluffy cat suit. I might pick those two up. And then there's also the maid outfit, which I'm also looking at. Very, very cool stuff. Now on top of the new AC Scratch, we are getting a Revival SG Scratch, Halfia Revival July 2023. But this one is special in the sense that you get 10 free pulls every single day. You just log in, you get 10 free pulls, and you pull on this scratch, and you can get a bunch of cosmetic items for free. Now remember, if you get duplicates that you don't want, you can always exchange them for SG Recycle badges, which can be used for other goodies as well. So don't worry about getting duplicates through your 10 free pulls every single day. Now in the second week of July, we are getting another limited time quest. However, this is a 4-player limited time quest called the Fortress in the Forest. This one's a very traditional type of quest. You start at point A, you go to point B, you kill everything in your path. There's a bunch of bosses that spawn, you kill all the bosses. Very straightforward, super simple. And it's a 4-player limited time quest, so you can just spam this over and over and over in order to get a bunch of seasonal points as well as other goodies. So that is really nice. Now we will also get a Revival AC Scratch Ticket, which will bring back a lot of old hairstyles as well as emotes. So if you did miss anything, you could wait for this scratch to come out and then hopefully get the hairstyle or the emote that you want. But this is the big one that I've been waiting for, and that is the new Resurgent Force SG Scratch. So in this SG Scratch, you can get avatar items for Crawford, Zevetto, and Faria. The main one I'm looking at is Faria. I want Faria's hairstyle. So for those who really like my character's hairstyle, which is the Duolante hair, you guys know that this hairstyle is ridiculously expensive. Even when it's on the scratch, it always goes for like 8 to 10 million. And when it's off the scratch, it's like 16 to 20 million. Well, you can get a variant that looks very similar to the Duolante hair for free through the SG Scratch through Resurgent Force. This comes out on July 12th. When this scratch comes out, I'm definitely going to be scratching on it because I do want Faria's hairstyle, and also Zevetto looks really, really badass. So I do want Zevetto's outfit as well so that I can join cast day and actually look like a cast. Now on top of that, of course, we do have a new mission pass, which is going to be season 22. Again, this starts on July 12th, and then we get a whole bunch of freebies from that as well. But now to talk about the second half of the anniversary event. So this actually kicks in on July 19th. So again, the seasonal shop is going to update. They're going to add new items so that you can purchase more things. But on top of that, they're adding a new trigger quest, Drill Remnants of Ambition. So that is the urgent quest that is in Retem. So let's say that, you know, you want to run it more often, you can actually purchase the trigger quest and you'll be able to run it with your friends whenever you want, which is very, very nice. On top of that, they are also adding the AC Scratch Exotic Summer Night. There's a lot of stuff I really, really want from this scratch. So, yeah, July 19th, I'm going to make sure that I get a lot of money and I farm like crazy so that when the scratch comes out, I can afford everything I want. But moving on from that, we do get a part 2 of Nazun's Big Quiz limited time quest, which is the Mario Party type thing. Basically, we're going to get new questions and there's going to be a change in scenery and it looks pretty interesting. The bosses at the end looks different as well. So I'm definitely down to try this. I just hope that the questions are varied enough that, you know, you don't see the same questions after playing like 2 or 3 runs of this, because that would get really boring really quickly. Now, something I was not expecting at all was them to show the roadmap. So here we can see the roadmap for the second half of 2023. So this is pretty much gonna temper everyone's expectations, all right? This is what they show, this is what they're going to deliver. We don't need to speculate, we don't need to assume anything, this is what we're getting, okay? So in July, we just covered everything that we're getting in July. So August to September, we're getting an Autumn 2023 event. On top of that, we have the standing multi-party quest. So this is going to be that repeatable type of content where we run as a party. They did mention that it's going to be similar to what we did in La Ciel when we went there for the very first time, where there are all these different biomes and everything seemed very instance-based. They did mention that it's going to be something similar to that on the NGS headline, but they didn't show any footage of it. So we're just going to have to wait until the next headline when they talk about the August stuff. Then they will definitely be showing us what exactly the standing multi-party quest is. But they did show us the ultra high difficulty standing party quest. And when I saw this scene right here, I don't know if you can hear it. I think you can actually hear it. I yelled Luther because immediately I thought that was Luther. It literally had like the music, the ambience, the feel, everything about it felt like Luther. And I was just like, oh my god, it's Dark Falls Luther. He's back. He's gonna do the time stop thing. He's gonna destroy everyone. It's gonna be hard as heck. And yeah, I'm just really happy to see this, that they're basically doing like a starless version of Dark Falls. It's going to be a quest that you can run anytime that you want. It's not an urgent quest. It's not a trigger. You don't need any special tokens or whatever. You can just go in and run it as many times as you want. Super duper nice. And of course, this is going to be a party quest, so you do need to team up with 4 people in order to participate. I don't know if it's going to be a 4-player thing or an 8-player thing, but you know, nevertheless, it looks freaking awesome. So I can't wait to try this next month. The best part about this quest is you don't need some stupid Defi capsules to run this. You can just build your own gear, whatever min-max gear you have right now, you bring that into the quest and everything's going to be fine. You don't need to build a new set of armor, a new weapon, or a new whatever, just like the dual quest, which is, you know, kind of silly. So I'm very happy that the ultra high difficulty standing party quest is retains your own gear. So that's really, really good. Now we are getting 6 limited time quests as well, which is a little bit overwhelming. That's a lot of new limited time quests, but they didn't tell us what exactly it is. But as that, we are going to get chapter 6 part 2 of the story. So basically they've broken the story up. Instead of giving us like the entire chunk after 6 months, they basically broke it up into like mini episodes so that we get new story every 2 months. That's pretty much the spacing that they're aiming for. And so, you know, as we can see here, chapter 6 part 2 is going to be in August, September. Part 3 is going to be October to November, and then part 4 is going to be in December. And then now the creative spaces, they're actually putting a lot of effort on the creative spaces. We are going to get alliance spaces in August/September. We also are getting the Retem motif based terrain. So that basically means when we go into the creative spaces right now, you know, everything's kind of like Alio-ish. It's kind of like green grassland and all of that. We're going to be able to change our terrain to a more Retem sandy type of look if you want. And you'll be able to do this with Genesis points alone. So no, you don't need to spend any real money. Free to play players, you guys are safe. We will be able to purchase all of this stuff for free with the free currency that we get, which is of course the Genesis points. Now we will also get new build parts, and we are also getting collaboration scratch items. So in August we are getting 2 collaborations. One is an isekai anime and the second one's an anime broadcast from this year. But the isekai anime, they actually showed what it was near the end of the headline, and it is Uncle from Another World. It's worth watching. It's a little bit on the dumb side, but it's so dumb that it's good. So I personally really enjoyed watching the anime, and I highly recommend people to watch the anime, but I'm just really happy that this is getting the collab. I still have hopes that the anime broadcast from this year might still be Demon Slayer. You know, I'm never gonna let that dream die until Sega like tells me personally and be like, yeah, we're not doing Demon Slayer. But, you know, hopefully Demon Slayer will come in, right? Hopefully, fingers crossed. But that concludes everything from August to September. Next is going to be October to November. Of course, we got the Halloween event. Then we're going to get new high rank zones in Retem. We're going to get a new dual quest. We're going to get another new urgent quest, and then 4 limited time quests. So that's going to be interesting. You know, we're going to be finally moving into Retem with all the high rank sectors. We're going to be farming there. And then of course, with the new urgent quest, there's going to be a new mob of some sort. So I'm excited for that. Then of course we're going to get part 3 of chapter 6's story, and then we're going to get more alliance space enhancements and new build parts, and 2 more collaborations. We're getting a sci-fi anime and a sci-fi toy product. I don't know what that means, but you know, sure. But the sci-fi anime, I'm really hoping that they go like the Gundam route. You know, we really need more cast parts. I really feel like the cast community is kind of neglected in this sense of collaborations, and since it's going to be a sci-fi anime, maybe you know, some mecha stuff would be really awesome. Or I have a funny feeling that they might actually try to do cyberpunk as well. Cyberpunk might be another thing that they could look into. But you know what? We're just gonna wait and see. I'm not gonna speculate anymore and get everyone's hopes up and everyone hyped up for no reason. Next up, of course, is gonna be December. December, we have the Christmas event, and we're getting a new ultra high difficulty standing party quest. So in August, we get to fight the crazy Starless Dark Falls. I'm wondering what on earth we're gonna be fighting in December. They do have the silhouette already there. I'm assuming that's probably the boss that we're gonna be fighting. But yeah, I mean, maybe she's the big bad of the Starless or something. Who knows? That's definitely going to be something I'm pretty excited about, because I like high rank difficulty stuff, because it kind of forces everyone to upgrade their gear and encourages everyone to min-max so that everyone can do all these crazy things. But something I'm not so excited of is we have another dual quest. We have a lot of new dual quests coming in, which does not make me too excited, unless of course it's still going to be a phase 2 variant of it, because if they expect us to make 4 different sets of armors and weapons, because, you know, phase 1, phase 2, and then in October phase 3, and December phase 4, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think I might just skip the dual quest unless the reward gives us another idle emote or something that I just need to have. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of dual quests anymore. I was really happy the first time, but then this time dual quest phase 2 is kind of like, the rewards are kind of meh. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Then of course we get a new limited time quest, only one limited time quest here, kind of interesting. Of course we get part 4 of chapter 6 for the story, we get new build parts, and we get a collaboration with an action anime. So that wraps up the roadmap for 2023. You know, for those who are hoping, oh, you know, we're gonna get a new game mode that's gonna revolutionize the game and save us and blah blah blah, you know, I don't think that's gonna be happening. It's pretty much gonna be a rehash of a lot of things that we have already, with a light sprinkle of new content here and there. So, you know, we've got the roadmap. I'm just gonna take it at face value, and what they say here is what I'm gonna expect. Now, in the operation report, there are 2 questions where they gave very interesting answers. The first question was, I want to ask about concert effects. Can you make it so that we can receive them even when we are outside of the cities? So they're talking about the concert buff. So when there's a concert going on, everyone just grinds and minds their own business until the last minute, and then everyone rushes to town to try to get their concert buff. And that's kind of how it's been for quite a while now, because, you know, after listening to the concert 100 times, 200 times, you're kind of like, well, I've kind of seen everything, you know? But the developers' reply was really interesting, because they said that in the future, you'll be able to receive the concert buff even when you're not in town, as long as you've unlocked a specific title/achievement for listening to the concert X amount of times. So that's actually really, really cool, and that's a huge quality of life. If I can just get the concert buff while I'm minding my own business, grinding away or whatever, that's really, really nice. And I was very surprised to hear that the developers were actually okay with this. You know, most developers would be like, no, screw you, just come to town and get your stupid buff. But the NGS developers were like, oh sure, you can have your cake and eat it. I was like, oh, okay. So that really surprised me. Now the second question was, would it be possible to raise the levels of presets? So this is the Fixa system. So let's say you have a Fixa Fatale level 1 on your weapon. The question is there going to be a way in the future to upgrade my Fixa? You know, I want Fatale level 5 on my katana. Is there going to be a way to do this? And the answer from the dev team was very, very interesting. In a future update, you're going to be able to use weapons with high level fixes as material in order to give your weapon a chance to upgrade its current fixa. So let's say that you have a Fixa Fatale level 1 on your Neo A katana, and you get a Neo A Knuckles with a Fixa Fatale 3. What you'd be able to do is you could use your Knuckles as a material to give you a chance to upgrade your Fixa Fatale 1 katana to a Fixa Fatale 2. Now, they didn't go into crazy specifics, but what they did specify was as long as the weapon was in the same weapon series and were able to be multi-weapon together, they will be able to be used as material. But they didn't specify on what type of fixa you could use. For example, I have a Fixa Attack 3 on my Neo A katana. Would I be able to get a Fixa Fatale 4 bow, for example, and just rip that off and put it here so there's a chance of upgrading my fixa to level 4, but also changing my attack to Fatale? They didn't specify any of that. So there's still a lot of uncertainty on how this process is going to work, but it was definitely something I wasn't expecting. I thought they would just scrap the entire fixer system and just redo it in a different way. But from the devs' response, I think we're still going to be sticking with the current fixer system. They're just going to implement more ways for people to get fixes on their weapons or just upgrade their fixes. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know how I feel about it. It seems okay for the average player, because right now, if you want a high fix on any high rarity weapon, like let's say you get a Tisha weapon and you want to fix on that, it's kind of like, yeah, good luck, you're never gonna get it, right? But we'll have to see. It's just really interesting to hear what the devs had to say there. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!